Hi, my name is Brianne and today we are going to be arm knitting using my Mountain by Schachenmayr Bravo Big and Bravo Big color. So we're going to start by choosing our yarns. You can use as many strands as you would like to get the weave of your piece, the thickness you want it to be. We're going to create a loop around and pull the yarn through. Here's our starter loop, and I'm going to put that on my right arm right here. You want to pull the yarn in tight enough so that you have a nice controlled stitch, but loose enough so you can still get it off your arm to work the piece. Now, to create the stitch, cast on, we're going to reach either your thumb and your finger, whichever feels better to you, through the loop, pull the yarn through, and this creates your second loop, which you put over your right hand. I now have 2 stitches. Okay? I'm going to continue with that process, reaching through the newest loop, pulling the yarn through, and placing the loop over my right hand. And continue until you have as many stitches as you want to work with. I'm going to make 5. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4. I'm going to do one more, reach through, pull the yarn, and place the last stitch over my hand. I now have 5 stitches. Again, I want to keep tugging on this just a little bit to keep the yarn nice and tight and the stitches all even. I'm going to work the yarn from my right arm to my left arm like you would needles. I'm going to reach through the loop like I did to cast on, but this time instead of putting the stitch on my right arm, I'm going to put it on my left, and I can now release the stitch I pulled the yarn through. Again, I'm going to reach through the yarn, put the loop on my left hand, and release the loop that I pulled the yarn through, and continue this pattern across all of your stitches. Reach, pull, place, release, reach, place, and release. And now I've completed a second row. You can see it starting to form on the bottom. One more row and you'll really have a sense of the shape of the stitch. I'm going to repeat that one more time, returning to my right arm, reaching through the loop, grabbing the thread, looping over the right, releasing the left loop, through, over, release, through, over, release. And if we pull out our piece there, you've got those stitches starting to form. There's your heart shape of your knitted pattern.
Okay, one more row.
And I'm going to do one more row and release. So here's our pattern. Alright. Now you would continue working the piece until it was as long as you want it to be. And then we're going to bind off. To bind off, you're going to hold your yarn just like you're making new stitches. Okay. I'm going to reach through, pull the yarn through, and place it on my right hand and release that loop. Then I'm going to repeat that with the next stitch. Pull the yarn through and release. Now I have 2 stitches on my right hand. I'm going to take the inside stitch, the one I did first, pull it over the top of my hand and let that one go. So I only have a single stitch on my right hand. I'm going to go from left to right again. Create the loop and release. 2 stitches again. Inside stitch, over the outside stitch and release. Pull my yarn through, release, inside stitch, over the outside stitch. We got one more to go. Pull it through, inside stitch, over the outside stitch. I've got one left. I'm going to, you would take your scissors at this point, cut your yarn, and pull the last stitch around and through to create the knot on the end. And when you're finished, you have your arm knit pattern.